Good morning, it's Friday morning. Today is my double feature day, and I will be releasing a video of my tumbler updates. I will be checking on the status of all the rocks in all these tumbler barrels, and I will be showing the setup of all the stones for the next week. So, without further ado, let's check on some stones and see how they're doing. Okay, the first 3-pound tumbler barrel is agates. These ones have been on polish for a week. So now we are going to see whether they are fully polished or not. If they are not fully polished, I'm going to have to burnish them, but unfortunately the burnish soap is still on order from Kingsley North, so I will have to wait until I get that order in. So I will just be setting this up with a new batch of stone until that order comes in, and then I'll be burnishing these agates when that order comes in with a special burnishing soap. It's a powdered soap that is specifically made for burnishing the stones. You can make it by basically letting ivory soap dry out for like a month, unwrapping it and letting it sit. I'm just drying this off to see how good the polish is while I'm talking here. And during the month, when you have it drying out, it releases, some of the chemicals that, or oils, or essential oils, or liquids that are inside the soap. And it will dry out a little bit and make it a little bit easier to shave it or make it so that it will be able to be made into a powder form for this purpose. I don't have the time to do that, so I'm just ordering the Raytech powder soap from Kingsley North. This one here, since it has this large flat area and is long, it did not take a polish on the ends. You can see that it's polished in the middle, and it polished pretty well on the other sides. But just that side, it's dull on the ends for some reason. But it looks like the rest of these, I'm going to wipe them on my shirt. The test is to see if, they're shiny when they're wet, but to see if when you dry them off, if they are as shiny as when they are wet. That one will probably need to be cut in half and put in with another load of agates, because that's really an odd shape to have in a tumbler load with other mixed shapes. I see some of the other ones are already drying out, the water's running off, and you can see, yes, these are nice and shiny when they're dry. So this batch is done, except for that one odd long one. So I'm going to load these back into the clean bucket for carrying into the house, and we're going to check on the next barrel, which is going to be my Sunstones. Now, this was pretty much as level it needed to be when I started the polishing process. The Sunstones last week, you remember they kind of had a dull finish to them. I did realize that the level of rocks in that barrel was not up to the point where it should have been in the barrel. So I loaded some poly pellets into the mix to see if that would help. Okay, here's the agates that were in pre-polish, or stage 3. These are small agates. Make sure I didn't get the camera wet. I also have to make sure I get this barrel really clean because I'm going to be going to polish after that, and I do not want any of the pre-polished grit left in it, or else it will hinder the polish of the stones when they go for the next load. Which means going around the rim, making sure nothing gets left in it. There we go. Nice and clean. Okay. Now there's the lid. Also got to wipe the lid around the edge. Get all the gray off of it. Make sure it's a nice jet black. Because you see this little film on it? That's the pre-polish. So you need to get all that off of it. You can also see it on my hands. Okay. There we go, nice and clean. Now, let's rinse these off. They're looking really good. Feel nice and smooth. They got a little bit of grip to them, but not very much. They're looking really smooth, really nice. So I am going to go ahead now, after I finish rinsing these off, give them a little bit more of a rinse. Yeah, you might notice I'm wearing a hoodie today. I don't know what happened. It was in the 90s last weekend, and now it's back down into the 60s, so yeah, I guess that's Portland weather for you. There go my lids. I'm going to give these another rinse and then get these onto the cart. Okay, these were the ones that had polish on them. That's not going to affect anything. I'm just going to get any dirt that might, or grit that was down in there that might have gotten on them off them. That cleaned off. Okay. Got organic material on the outside of that. I'll get that off of there. Give those another rinse because stuff might have gotten down onto them from there. Okay. And now back in they go. Those go in for polish for the next week. The ones that just finished polishing, I will also attach at the end of the video showing them off dry and completed. I will show them off under a long wave UV. Some of those do glow and fluoresce under long wave UV, so look forward to that. Next is going to be my first batch of river jasper. And let's see how these are turning out. There is one rock in here that is a neighbor's rock. They wanted me to polish it for them. But the rest of these are from the river. I'm also going to take this attachment from my, pardon my reach in front of the camera, my attachment for my jewel tool, my saw attachment, out of there. And put it on the cart. This was in with coarse for a week. I'll need to give the gasket a good scrub. I'll do that in a little bit. But here's the jaspers. Now they've been in with coarse for a week. And this is my first batch of rocks that I've actually found myself. And you see I've got a good assortment of colors. I've got reds, greens, I've got some spotty ones, I've got some orangish with reds. This is my neighbor's rock, it's looking nice. Got some nice banding in that one. Got some banding in some of the ones that I found, some spots. They're looking like they're coming along nice. And these are just river jaspers, river stones that I picked up. Now, I'm going to take the small ones out because they're going to keep shrinking unless I take them out until they disappear. The ones that are small, I am now going to put in with a small batch once I get a small batch rolling, and keep these larger ones going with the larger ones. Because if you have small stones in with large stones, they'll disappear. They'll just dissolve in with the large ones. So in order to keep that from happening, I'm going through and I'm separating the smallest of them. And then, when I get a smaller batch going and they're done with coarse, I'll put these in with the number 2 polishing grit. The second stage, when they're ready to start the number 2. And also when these get started back up in number 2, I have to add, I'll probably add the ceramic media to this to bring it up to capacity, because you want this to be about half to 2/3 of the way full when you get it running. So in order to bring it back up to 2/3, I'm going to fill it up with non-abrasive ceramic media that I acquired. And since it's larger stones, I'm probably going to use the large rather than the small non-abrasive media. And that basically acts as filler to keep your tumbled stones tumbling as they should, even if you don't have the amount of tumbled stones tumbling to fill it to full. Like if you don't have a completely full load, stones wouldn't tumble as they normally should. Like right now, it's about it's just below half. So I'm going to fill that about another quarter of the way up with the non-abrasive ceramic media to make up for that difference, because we lost a lot of material in the first stage. Now, I am somewhat new to this myself, so if there's anybody that's watching my videos that has any tips or tricks that they want to share with me that might be helpful to me, please feel free to share as I'm going along. Chime up, speak up, because I'm still learning too. I'm one of those people that accepts that I will never know it all. So I take advice from just about anyone, as long as I recognize that they know more than I do. So here is the next to last tumbler barrel. This is my Star Diamond tumbler barrel, and this one has the bloodstone that I picked up to tumble. So here we go. This one is a vintage machine I picked up, but I was told to replace the gasket, so I found, gasket material and made a new gasket for it. And let's see how the bloodstone did this past week. I'm going to take the liner out of this and rinse it. I like to do that because it doesn't get the housing wet. I just couldn't lift it out because it was heavy and full. Now this bloodstone, as I said in previous videos, is from India. It's imported. But it looks like it's coming along nicely. It doesn't have any sharp edges anymore, which is a wonderful thing. There's some pieces that have shrunk a bit, so I'm probably going to remove those. Like this. This will be a smaller piece. This will be a smaller piece. That'll be a smaller piece. But then we've got these big chunky pieces. Let's see if I can get it to focus in. We got some nice red and green in the pieces. So I'm going to pick the smaller pieces out of this so that they don't disappear, and then put them in a smaller batch. We've also got some chips in the bottom here. Those will go probably in a semi-tumbled lot later on a selling site. You know, if I take out too many of these, I'm just going to pick and choose carefully. That's a chunky one. I'm going to leave that one. That's thin. That's chunky. I think I'm going to leave the chunky ones and take the thin ones out. Okay, looks like that's good. The rest of these can stay in there. I'll put those 4 up there. Those are going to go in a small load when I get a small load running and going on to the medium grit. Now these will go back in here since it's rinsed out. See how much material we're left with after stage 1, which is the coarse grit. It's nice because I started off with a specific weight, so after I get done with tumbling this material, I'll find out like how much of the weight that I started out with ended up in tumbled stone. As finished product. Because I bought this stone specifically for the purpose of feeding it to my tumbler. You know, you got to keep your tumblers fed and happy. Looks like that's about halfway. I'll probably put about an inch layer of the coarse ceramic non-abrasive media on the top of that. And we're good to go. I'll clean up the little bit of abrasive paste that got on the outside of the barrel. Now it's time to give this a rinse. And see how my Sunstones did. This is the last barrel I'm rinsing out today. So here we go. And if you haven't seen the previous videos and know where these are from the Ponderosa mine, which is an area, it's a mine that is not in Plush, Oregon. And yes, they have a polish now. It's still just a little bit hazy, so I will burnish these. It's just going to have to wait until I get the burnishing soap. And that means I also have to wait another week until I have an empty tumbler. So these are officially on hold. But complete as far as what I can do right now. I will need to put new poly pellets in them, so I will separate these poly pellets out because they are polished grade poly pellets, and I will put fresh poly pellets in with them to burnish them, and I will do that next week once I get an empty tumbler. But these are really pretty, and this one here, I'm lucky we have one right on top that has some schiller. So these will be for sale eventually at shows that I set up at. I probably will not sell them online just because they vary so much piece by piece. If I did sell them online, I'd probably have to sell them by weight. And I'd have to separate the ones that have schiller from the ones that don't have schiller, or the ones that are clear versus the ones that have the basalt inclusions, which is this red. Because the site where these come from, the basalt is red, as opposed to like the free collection area. In those areas, the basalt is usually black. So they come from a different area. If you look up the Ponderosa mine, they show them digging these out of like a red clay material out in a wooded area. And that's definitely not the Plush, Oregon area, which is all sagebrush with the very sparse juniper tree. So that's been my tumbler check video. I'm just gonna finish with rinsing out this barrel, but that's about all the video that I'm gonna show for now, and look forward to my video on loading them up for next week. See what I'm gonna put in the barrel that these came out of, as well as the 3-pound barrel that the agates came out of that are done this week. So I'll figure out what's going in those, and I will be releasing that video shortly after this video is released. Until then, keep rolling, keep rocking, and happy hunting. Okay, here we are with the finished agates and my long wave UV light to show off the reactivity of these. As you can see, some of them really glow. Some of them are mottled, some of them glow mildly, some of them are bright, some of them are pink, some of them are greenish. Some are more dull, subdued tones. But there's the UV reaction on the batch of agates that I finished today. That one there's got some like banded areas in it that fluoresce. So there we go. Hope you enjoyed this Friday's tumbler updates. Now, unfortunately, I just went down to check on my old Star Diamond tumbler, and the motor is toast. So I am going to have to do maintenance on that, try to find a new motor for it, and I'll be a week behind on the bloodstone. But that's the drawbacks of having an old machine. So there we go. And until next time, gotta keep those rocks rolling. Fossil Bill, signing off.